Let's throw some more light on another set of numbers, and that's HEG. It's on a roll, really. Net profits for the quarter did very well, about 8 times growth for the net profits on a year-on-year basis. I think the revenues too had some expansion. Margins also expanded a little bit in the session, in the quarter gone by. The performance was predominantly led by the outperformance in the graphite segment. Let's discuss the quarter gone by with Ravi Jhunjhunwala, the Chairman and Managing Director of HEG. Also joining in is Nikki Mirchandani from our research team to take it forward. Nikki.
Thanks, Neeraj. Well, good set of numbers put in by HEG. I'm going to start off by asking Mr. Jhunjhunwala about the power business division, which has seen some kind of decline coming in both in terms of the revenue as well as the EBITDA performance. I'd like to understand what goes behind the decline of these numbers.
No, the power business within the company is very, very small, and I'm guessing what your question is, where there is a part of our power business which is something to do with hydro, and that hydro plant typically only starts operations in the second quarter, and that did not start this year because there were no rains in that area. So that plant did not work at all in the entire second quarter. It has just started operating about a week ago. So if that is the one that you are talking about, then this is the question. And the second part, which I'm presuming you are asking me, is in addition to that, we have about 65 megawatt of coal-based plant, where we have been able to negotiate a better price from the electricity grid. We were buying at, let's say, X price, which was much higher than the price at which we were generating our own power. Now, electricity board has agreed to give us a price at which we have closed down half of our coal-based power generation, because our own cost of generation is now higher than the electricity grid. So that may be the reason for that division not showing as good a profit as last year, but indirectly that has meant a higher profit in the graphite division. So as far as the company itself is concerned, I don't think that has made much of a difference.
All right, Mr. Jhunjhunwala, I do understand about your power business, but I'd like to understand a little bit about your margin sustainability, which for the present quarter stands around 76%. I'd like to understand how much can we expect going forward in the second half of the financial year?
See, as far as the current quarter is concerned, we don't think we should we will have any problem. We are more or less booked for this quarter. As far as going forward is concerned, we are more or less taking a quarter at a time. We are not yet certain about January, March, but because we are not yet in the market to sell the electrodes, which has been the pattern in the last 4, 5, 6 quarters, where we have been negotiating our orders on a quarterly basis in most of the times, and in some cases it is half yearly. So the current quarter looks as good. The next quarter we don't know, because we have still not started selling, but given the market condition, we believe we should be able to more or less be in the same region.
Sure. Importantly, I'd like to know a little bit about your capacity utilization level, given that I believe it was 82% in Q1. Are we looking at the same level or a 85+% kind of a figure?
As against 82, this quarter, which is the second quarter that we are talking about, we are a little over 85%. And the current quarter is likely to be a little over 90%.
All right, talking about the dividend in that case, the street doesn't seem to be much happy with the 30 rupee kind of dividend that the company has given out. It seems to be minuscule as compared to the stock price that we're looking at around the 4,200. Analysts were expecting a higher figure given the profitability of the company. I'd like to understand your plans to enhance shareholder value, and if you could look at further dividend payout going forward.
No, I'd like to clarify. We have always maintained that in the last 10, 12 years, if you look at our history, we maintained a payout ratio of about 35, 36, 37%. And we will maintain the same percentage of 35, 36, 37%. And as I was just talking to somebody else, we are going to give something away every quarter. So this is just the beginning. This is just the payout in the first quarter, and there will be something happening in the second. There will be something happening in the third. I'm sorry, second, third, and fourth, which will all combined will still be in the ratio of about in the region of 55% payout.
Mr. Jhunjhunwala, your realization stood around at that average.
Press conference.
How much can we expect going forward in the second half of the financial year? Are we expecting some sort of gains from the level that we've seen in the first half?
So again, normally we don't speak about the exact number, but yes, you are in the ballpark.
All right, and I'd like to know if the company has been able to undertake any price hike for the month of October, and how is the demand scenario panning out going forward?
So the demand remains very strong. The demand keeps increasing, and since the structure of the industry is such that there are not too many players and nobody is putting any new capacities, and new capacities, even if once they are announced, they take a very, very long time. So the demand-supply imbalance is still continuing to be there.
All right, talking a little bit about your important needle coke issue, I'd like to understand the availability around the same, and has the situation eased going forward?
You see, a little bit of debottlenecking that one of the largest needle coke player was talking about, that has happened. And we've started getting some coke out of that. So to that extent, yes, the availability has increased, but the demand still is outstripping the supplies. I mean, we could do, what I'm trying to say is we could do with a couple of more 1,000 tons of needle coke if it was available.
All right, Mr. Jhunjhunwala, the last question that I have for you is about EBITDA per ton for the quarter. I'd like to understand the number for the same, and what can we expect going forward in the second half, factoring in the kind of input pressures that you're witnessing right now?
No, it won't make much of a difference. I mean, as I said, the needle coke is always purchased on a 6-monthly basis. So whatever cost of the needle coke we had in the previous quarter, it's not going to materially change in the next 3 months.
All right, Mr. Jhunjhunwala, thank you so much for your time. Indeed, a pleasure talking to you as always. Neeraj, back to you. 2 takeaways that I'd like to highlight. Margins are expected to stay around the 75 level going forward in Q3, and the realization is expected to be around that $15,000 per ton range. No cost pressures coming in as of now for the company. Pretty much the same.
Doing okay, HEG. Thanks a lot for that, Nikki. Bring up that stock also for our viewers, 3.5% higher for HEG. And then, of course, the markets by themselves, very, very flat. Hardly any move there. The Sensex is just about 37 points down, so no movement there. The Nifty about 0.2%, and the Nifty Bank staying slightly afloat. I think L&T probably the only stock which has actually had some serious gains in the session today. Otherwise, IT and the other companies have come off and a bit muted in trade.
Well, on that note, it's a wrap on this morning edition of Indian Open. Thanks a lot for watching. We have a lot more market action coming up on the FNO Show.